Good afternoon. My name is Judy Baranowski. I'm a director with Alex Partners. I work with companies on performance improvement, but at the moment, previously in my career though, I've had the honor to lead several supply chain organizations for Fortune 50 global companies. One of the things that I've noticed as I move to different positions is that the team, when you get there, is really tense. They want to know what you think, how you act, what matters, and I took some advice from someone that I worked for back in the early 90s, and I put together a little thing called Baranowski's Facts of Life. And they're the rules that I've not even rules, they're the guidelines that I've lived by in my career, and they've worked for me. They've been pretty successful. My career hasn't been perfect. There's been lots of ups and downs, but they've worked well for me. And I found that when I go into an organization and share them with the team, it kind of puts everybody into a relaxed mode, and then we focus on getting the job done. Instead of worrying about how to get it done, we focus on what to do and how to deliver value to the company. So in the spirit of sharing, what I thought I'd do today is just kind of walk through the list that I have. It's very personal to me, so I hope it helps you. First of all, you only get one chance to make a first impression. You know, think about times where you've met somebody and literally in the first couple of seconds you've formed an opinion about that person. Are they aggressive? Are they going to get the job done? Are they too aggressive? Are they competent? Would you be proud to take them into a negotiation? Just all sorts of different factors, and you form those impressions pretty quickly. So I would, you know, my goal would just be yourself, be confident. Don't be a smart aleck. And someone told me once, dress for the job you want and not the job you have. Just a little bit of advice there. So the first fact of life is you only get one chance to make a first impression. The second thing is that every day is an interview. And I talked to somebody about this and they said, man, are you hard on yourself? But you know, it's true. Every day really is an interview. Think about it with your suppliers as you approach them, and your honesty and fairness and integrity matters every single day. And that happens with all of the relationships in your life, actually. So the next one is respect is earned. It's not something that you can demand. When you're working with your colleagues, they don't instantly respect you. You have to earn that respect, and you have to earn that respect from your supply base as well. So I would the way I approach it is that I try to be humble and earn the respect that I hope that I can garner from the people that I do business with and my friends and family. The fourth one, this has kind of become a little trademark of mine, but hope is not a process. In your career, you want to make a difference, and what you need to do is plan for what that change is that you're going to drive, or those improvements are that you're going to drive, and then execute against them. One of the things as we work with different companies we find is that planning may be strong, but execution needs some help. You really need to focus on both. But the one thing I can guarantee you is that hope is not a process, and it will not drive results. The next fact of life, the earlier you deliver the bad news, the better. And the gentleman that I worked for that had his facts of life list, he actually said, good news is not like fine wine. It does not age, or excuse me, bad news is not like fine wine. It does not age well. So just think about that. Some people have a really hard time delivering bad news. And what I found is just share the facts. Just be direct and honest, and usually the earlier that you share the bad news, the more options can be managed to do something about it. So think about it from that perspective. And it also helps to share it because more brains thinking about something can usually come up with ways to mitigate a problem. The next thing, and this colleague of mine who's now the CEO of a company told me, he said, you know, as I look back on my career, the one thing that I would do differently every single time is make the tough calls faster. That's hard because it's related to people usually, but it's interesting because at the conference yesterday, I was listening to one of the speakers and she said the same thing. She's VP for a Fortune 50 company. And she said as she looked back at her procurement transformation, The one thing that she wished she would have done differently is make the tough calls faster. So treat people with respect, but recognize when a change needs to be made and get it done. The next one is, don't just tell me the problem, bring me the solution. The last thing you want to do is walk into your boss's office with the problem and not have some options for a solution. You need to demonstrate that you're proactive and you've thought things through, but I actually think it's a good fact of life to follow because it makes you think and it makes you better. It's part of your own self-improvement. So when you've got a pile of problems on your plate and you want to talk about them, think about the solutions that could be part of the situation as well. The next one, take risks. You're going to think, oh my gosh, she's saying to be reckless. I'm not saying to be reckless. But don't wait till you have all the information to make a decision. It'll never happen. And you'll become someone who is indecisive. And if you're indecisive, you're ineffective. So remember to take risks. The next one is the only thing certain in life is change. Learn to manage it. As I've gone into different organizations, usually the reason I'm brought in is to make a difference. So things are going to change. And what I want to do is bring the team along and make the change together because they usually have great ideas. It's much, we can execute it together, and that's cross-functionally as well as just within the supply chain organization and with your supply base. But some people just don't want change and think that life will just be fine if nothing's different. It's not so. So the only thing certain in life is change. Learn to manage it. The next one is bosses are obsolete. The world needs leaders and coaches. What more can I say? The next one's about career paths. One of the things I'm asked to do a lot is talk to people that are new in the organization, people that are fresh out of college or first year in the company. And they always ask me, so how did you plan your career? What was your career path? And I kind of just step back a little bit and chuckle because it's not planned. You have aspirations to do better, and I would say the thing you need to do to plan your career is to be prepared. Be prepared and look at being available for multiple options. Take risks. Don't be afraid of a challenge, but please don't think that you can plan it like a chess game or a checkers game. It just doesn't work that way. The best way to plan your career success is to be prepared. The next one is don't underestimate the importance of common sense. That's from my dad. I would tell you that people sometimes think you have to have the education and the intelligence. You really need to have common sense as well. The next one, no one is an island. Your network is probably one of the most important assets in your career. Your network of suppliers, your network of colleagues, your network of friends and family. So it takes a lot of work, but I would really encourage you to stay connected with everybody you possibly can. It makes a difference to you as a person, not just your career. The next one is about ethics. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. There's no substitute for honesty and integrity. Just, in fact, 2 weeks ago, I had the honor of teaching a course, a continuous learning course for some lawyers on Wall Street. And it was about ethics when you're working with clients and situations you may come across at the client where there might be an ethics situation, and how do you handle it? Because you're not in the company, you're consulting with the company. And the answer is trust your gut, and if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't, and work with the client to resolve the issue, and if that doesn't work, escalate it within your own business. But one of the main messages was just trust your gut. The next one's about diversity. Embrace it. Every solution that I've come up with that's been a really rocking solution has been because we've embraced diversity along the way. And then last, take time to give back to your family, your friends, your profession, and your community. And that's about all I have to say. Good luck with your career, and enjoy supply chain.